The tin cup had been empty for 40 minutes when the boy stopped in front of the bench, opened his lunchbox, and looked at Richard the way people look at someone they have already decided to help. Richard has been in this park since noon. Worn gray jacket, scuffed boots, the kind of stubble that arrives from choice rather than neglect. He has done this for 6 weeks. Different parks, different cities, same jacket, same empty cup, same result. Nobody has helped, nobody has spoken. He has watched 6 weeks of Tuesday afternoons walk past a man with nothing, and he has learned, conclusively, what he came to confirm. The boy is 8, tight curly hair, school backpack on both shoulders, and a lunchbox in his right hand that has his name written on a strip of tape on the lid. Webb. The lunchbox is the important detail. Not the backpack, not the shoes. The lunchbox means someone at home packed his food this morning, which means what is in that box is all he has until dinner. He has been walking toward Richard for 30 feet. He made the decision somewhere back there, before he arrived. He opens the box, takes out half a turkey sandwich, holds it out without a word. Not an offer, a delivery. The way you hand something to someone you have decided deserves it before they have done anything to deserve it. Richard takes it. The lunchbox closes. The napkin inside catches the hinge and falls. Lands on the bench between them. The boy doesn't notice. He nods once, the specific nod of a child who has finished something, and walks away down the afternoon path. Richard looks at the napkin. One line. Adult handwriting, deliberate and slow. The kind that takes longer because the person slowed themselves down on purpose. Give what you can. Keep nothing back. He reads it twice. His hand goes to his jacket pocket. The thing he keeps there, folded, 3 years, never shown to anyone. And he holds it through the fabric without taking it out. The handwriting on the napkin and the thing in his pocket are both things written by a person who believed entirely in what they were writing. His phone buzzes. Not his driver, his foundation director, Marcus Hale, calling from the office, which means the 48-hour vote on the pediatric ward cuts is moving faster than scheduled. He does not answer. The boy has reached the far end of the path. He is about to disappear it around the corner when Richard notices what else fell from the lunchbox, when the napkin dropped, still on the bench slat. A small folded piece of paper, the kind torn from a school notebook. He opens it. It is a drawing, crayon, a man on a bench in a park, beneath it, in a child's handwriting, for whoever needs it. Richard's hand goes completely still. The drawing in his pocket, the one he has carried for 3 years, is the same size, the same crayon, the same handwriting. It is not possible. Re-hook. Richard Cole has spent 6 weeks trying to find one person who would help without being asked. He found him in 8 minutes this afternoon. A boy named Webb who walked away without looking back. The pediatric ward funding vote is moving. The director is calling, and the drawing this boy left on a bench is in the same handwriting as the drawing Richard has been carrying in his pocket for 3 years from a child who died. Richard's assistant finds the boy in 11 minutes. One name on a lunchbox strip, Webb, E. The father's file is worse than expected. James Webb, night janitor, St. Catherine's Children's Hospital, 7 years, supervisor application filed 8 months ago. Blocked. A cost efficiency audit triggered a performance review that froze everything mid-process. The audit date is March 14th. Richard's own signature is at the bottom. He sets the file down on his desk next to the 2 drawings and does not move for a moment. The boy who handed him half a sandwich this afternoon is the son of the man Richard's signature quietly stopped from building a better life. There is no reading it twice. There is no reinterpreting it. He did this. Marcus Hale calls before Richard can reach the phone. The pediatric ward funding vote has been moved up. Not 48 hours anymore. Tomorrow morning, 22 hours. Hale moved it while Richard was sitting in the park, the ward where James Webb works every night. The ward where Richard's son, Marcus, spent the last 4 months of his 8-year life, in a room down the hall from where James mops the floors. Richard takes his son's drawing from his pocket and places it on the desk. Crayon, a house, 2 figures. At the bottom, in Marcus's handwriting, "I'll see you when you get home." He mailed it to himself from Singapore the morning after. He has never put it down. He reaches for the phone to cancel the vote, clear the audit finding, approve the promotion, all of it fixable. 20 minutes and a few calls. Then Hale walks in and sets a document on the desk without speaking. James Webb filed a formal grievance 6 weeks ago. Written, submitted correctly. It was automatically paused because the underlying audit was still under executive review. That executive review sat in Richard's own inbox, flagged, unread, buried under Foundation Board correspondence, for 6 weeks. 6 weeks of Richard wearing a gray jacket on park benches, asking strangers to prove they were paying attention. While a man at a hospital paid attention to what was right, wrote it down correctly, sent it to the correct address, and received nothing back. Richard looks at Hale. Who else is in the grievance system? Hale is quiet for a moment. James Webb is not the only one. Rehook. Richard's own signature blocked a man's promotion for 8 months. The man filed a grievance to Richard's office 6 weeks ago and heard nothing. Tomorrow morning, the ward where that man works every night loses 40% of its funding. And James Webb is not the only person in the grievance system who has been waiting in silence. The pediatric ward vote is in 22 hours, and Richard has not made a single call yet. The security guard at St. Catherine's front desk tells Richard he will need to show identification. Foundation visitor policy. Registered badge required. Richard waits while the guard checks the Foundation registry. It takes 4 minutes, the first 4 minutes in a very long time that Richard has stood at a counter and waited for someone else's process to decide whether he is allowed somewhere. The guard finds the name and waves him through. He finds James Webb at 11:14, mopping the corridor outside the pediatric ward. Slow, deliberate circles, the rhythm of a man who has done this so many times the work has become a form of thinking. Richard says he is from the Foundation. James nods once and keeps mopping. Richard looks down the corridor. The third door on the left is room 7. How long have you worked here? 7 years, James says, still mopping. Why a children's hospital specifically? James stops, leans the mop against the wall. He looks at Richard the way a man looks at a stranger who asks the right question at the wrong hour, deciding whether honesty is worth the energy this late at night. He decides it is. His son was a patient in this ward 4 years ago. 3 weeks. Something with his lungs that took a long time to name and longer to treat. Eli came home. James applied for a job here the following month and has not missed a night since. He picks the mop back up. This ward kept my son alive, he says. Somebody should take care of it. Richard looks at the third door on the left. A phone that rang 4 times in that room while he was 8,000 miles away, explaining quarterly projections to people whose names he cannot now remember. He stays with that for one moment, one specific honest moment, and then he takes out his phone. He calls Hale at 11:47. He speaks for 90 seconds. The vote is canceled. The pediatric ward funding increases by 60%. James Webb's performance review is closed, his supervisor application approved. Every unanswered grievance in the Foundation system is referred to an independent review board outside Hale's office, effective immediately. He does not tell James who he is. He says goodnight. James watches him walk back down the corridor with the expression of a man who witnessed something he does not yet have a name for. 3 weeks later, a small frame appears near the pediatric ward nurse's station. Eli sees it on a Saturday afternoon. He has been touching the walls on the way in, the way you touch the walls of a place that once frightened you. He stops. Behind the glass, a crayon drawing of a house with 2 figures outside it, and beside it, a folded paper napkin. He leans forward and reads, his father's handwriting, the same handwriting from every Tuesday morning, packed into every lunchbox for 3 years. Give what you can. Keep nothing back. James reads the small plaque beneath the frame. Once, then again. He does not speak. The afternoon comes through the corridor window in long, warm bars across the floor. Eli steps back from the frame. He does not look at his father's face to check whether it is all right. He puts his hand in his father's hand, the same way he has been putting things into other people's hands his whole short life, without asking, without waiting to be told. James holds on,